Okay, good morning everyone. So we have already started with normalization. Okay, in the last class we have seen the overview of normalization. Okay, what is normalization? So I think it's clear. Basically, it's what? Normalization means to break down complex table structure into a more simpler one. Right? Then we have seen the various types of normal forms are there, at least the names of the normal form, that is the first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, fourth normal form, and the fifth normal form. But normalization makes use of join, right? It helps to avoid redundancy. It helps to minimize the redundancy and the insertion, updation, and deletion anomalies, right? And what about the denormalization? Denormalization means to add some complexity in the table to get the better performance. And also it reduces the cost of join because join is an expensive operation. So we go for denormalization to increase the performance. Later we have seen the difference between this one normalization and denormalization too. So today we'll study further. We'll be studying about the normal forms, very important topic in terms of DBMS. I'm just repeating once more that if you go for any interviews and you say that you know DBMS, people are going to ask you about this normalization process. Okay. So today we'll be seeing first normal form and then we'll be seeing the functional dependency and the second normal form too. Okay. So just let me share the slide. Please pay very much attention to this one. It is easy, but it's very easy to forget also. It's easy to understand and easy to forget. The thing is that. So just I mentioned there are 5 types of normal forms: first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. Then fourth and fifth. So today we'll be seeing only I think 2 of them: first normal form and second normal form. So let's first check the first normal form. So what is the first normal form? A relation is in first normal form if the relation has no non-atomic values. You know what is an atomic value, right? Which will be a single value, which you cannot divide it. So that kind of values are known as non-atomic values. Suppose you cannot. After that, suppose we have taken the atomic values as the suppose your gender, okay, which can be your only one value only. So this can be, again here the entire table, here it said the entire table must have a single value. You cannot store multiple values in a single tuple, okay, or in a column. Okay, so thus an attribute in one NF, that is first normal form, must include only atomic, simple, the indivisible. So atomic is something called as indivisible. You cannot divide it further. Okay, indivisible values, and that the value of any attribute in a tuple must be a single value from the domain of that attribute. Okay. Now there is an example. Before going for this domain dependency, I want to show you what we are talking about, the first normal form. So here is a unnormalized table. So you can see here in the table customer, you can find 4 attributes: customer ID, first name, surname, and telephone number. 123 is the customer ID, Robert is the first name, Ingram is the surname, and this one 2211770 is the telephone number. So here no non-atomic value is there. Why? Because every row is storing, every column is storing single value, which you cannot convert, you cannot divide this customer ID, nor you can divide this robot, right? So it is indivisible. These are atomic values, even the telephone number. But if you go to the customer 2, that is the 453 customer ID, you see there are 2 phone numbers are there. Okay, so 2 phone numbers are stored in a single row. So this is not possible in case of normalization. So that is why it is known as, it is an unnormalized table. Okay, since it is storing two values in a single cell. So that is why we are saying it is unnormalized. But how do we normalize it? How do we normalize it to first normal form? This is the easiest one. First normal form is the easiest one. What we do, this is we like this value again, but the phone number here is different. All the values in the row are same, but the phone number is different. So this is how we divide it. We make it, convert it into first normal form. Okay, so here in the unnormalized form, you see in the phone number part, two phone numbers were stored in a single cell, but this is not correct. So what we do, we divide it and make it like we separate it using in a first normal form. So that is why it is said it will contain only atomic values. Anyone not clear with this one? It first normal form is the easiest one. Anyone not clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay. Now let's move to the domain dependency. So domain is atomic if its elements are considered to be indivisible units. Okay, that I will say, we cannot divide it further. Okay, so suppose first name. You can divide name into first name, middle name, last name. But you cannot divide the first name any further, right? So that is again, so that is why it is called the indivisible unit. So here is an example of non-atomic domains. So not non-domain domains, we have the composite attributes. So we have studied that. I just gave you the example of dates, right? Dates can sorry, names. So in names you have this one, first name, last name, and middle name also. So you can, if we have only take the, if you want to take the atomic value, if you take the first name, you cannot divide it further. So that is the atomic one. Okay, so a relational schema R is in first normal form if the domains of all attributes of R are atomic. Okay, just now we have seen the example. What do you mean by atomic? Okay, so non-atomic values complicate the storage and encourage redundant storage of speed. Okay, that is the purpose of the non-atomic values, but we are using only atomic. There is no redundant. Okay, so what we do, we introduce, this was the unnormalized table we had. What we did, we converted into the first normal form. Okay, this was all about the first normal form. It was very easy. Always remember, you have, whenever these two values are there, you have to remove it. You have to introduce a new line, a new tuple or new row, okay, to store that value whenever two values are stored here. Okay, that's the thing in first normal form. Ankita, is it clear? Ankita is there, then Jennifer, Kashyap, Nipu, Pallab, Partha, Rahul. What we are doing in first normal form, is it clear? Okay, Jennifer clear. Rahul, is it clear to you? Okay, Kashyap also clear. See, you need to study these things because I told you from the beginning of the class, that this normalization is easy to understand and easy to forget also. So please practice because these are the questions you get everywhere. Like gate questions also will ask you from normalization. Probably not first normal form, but other normal forms. Okay. Next, moving to second normal form. Now, this second normal form is a bit a complicated one, but it's if you understand, it's not okay. So here, like in first normal form, we have the domain dependency. Here we have the something called functional dependency. Okay, it's a like 2NF is based on the concept of functional dependency. So what is a functional dependency? So we have to understand this thing. Okay, it is not second normal form. Okay, we are studying first functional dependency and then we will study how it can be, how a first normal form table can be converted to second normal form. Okay, but before that we have to understand the functional dependency. So functional dependency is a constant between two sets of attributes from the database. Okay, so you can two set of attributes. Suppose we have separate attributes, like in a student table we have student ID, student name. Okay, then the subjects or marks, whatever you have. Then in the formal definition of functional dependency is that a functional dependency denoted by x, then there is an arrow y. So we also said if x tends to y. So okay, between two sets of attributes x and y that are subsets of R specifies a constant on the possible tuples that can form a relation state R of capital R. Okay, that's a complicated definition. Let me tell you, this x and y are the attributes of a table. Okay, so you can consider this x is a student ID and y is a student name. Okay, so these are two tuples which, and this symbol means, okay, this symbol means it is x, like y is determined by x. You can say y is determined by x or x determines y. You can either say x determines y or y is determined by x. Okay, let me just wait a second. I'll take a news. Okay, can you view my screen, the blank slide? Yes, is it visible? The blank
Yes,
slide?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Just let me write it somewhere. So you can say these things: x determines y, or you can say y is determined by x. Okay, these are the things you can say, but that means this x is the determinant set. Okay, x is a determinant set. Okay, so for any value you have to identify, like this x uniquely identifies this y. Okay, so let me take an example. Suppose we have, let me give you an example, then only I can tell. So I told you this x and y's are the two attributes of a table. So let's think that the table is the student table, name is the student table. We have various attributes in a student table. Suppose we take this student ID, then we take this determined by student name, so maybe S name. Okay, so suppose we have, suppose we take student name as, suppose Priya. Okay, and here also we take one more name, Priya. Okay, so we have two names, Priya, student name. But looking at this name, S name, do we know who is this person? Is this a single person or two different persons by having only a only student S name? Suppose for any like board exams, okay, so you know, like thousands of students or lakhs of students appear. So how do we and many people have the same name. Many people have the same name. So how do we differentiate that whether it is the same person or not? Yes, how will you differentiate that is this Priya same name or not, same person or not?
Student ID.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
So yes, roll number, yes, student ID, the same thing. So here we have one. Suppose we have used 101, and here we are using 102. Okay, so we are. So you can say that by looking at this, by looking at the SID, we can tell, okay, this Priya is different and this Priya is different person. Okay, so this is how it is function. That is means this student ID uniquely determines S name. Isn't it clear? Even this was one of the case. So this is a functionally dependent. Okay, so this is functional dependent. X uniquely determines X uniquely determines Y. So here Y is the Priya and X is the 101 and 102. We may have another case. Now, if you go by this student ID, if you go by this student ID, okay, if you go by this student ID 101 Priya and 101 Priya, then also you are able to determine, yes, this Priya refers to the same person. Probably it was like by mistaken, it was like the value was entered twice, but it refers to the same person. So this case is also valid. Okay, this case is also valid because 101 is clearly defining Priya. Now we have, suppose another case, I'm just modifying it here only. Okay, suppose like this kind of case. So 101 Priya, 101 Akshay. So here you can see the student ID cannot determine this thing. So it is an invalid case because 101 is referring to Priya and 101 is Akshay. So same student ID cannot be present, right? So this is an invalid case. Okay, some type of like gate questions may be there to find out the not gate questions. Maybe in our class also we'll be having some questions where we have to say whether the case is functionally dependent or not. After I complete this chapter, then I'll go for obviously practicing. Then I'll give you the questions. Okay, so this is absolutely wrong. It's an invalid case. If you have any confusion why it's an invalid case, do you have any confusion why it is an invalid case? When we have this is, we had some, let me rub this one, okay, because it is, let me explain once more. When we have such thing, we are saying it is valid. When we are having 101 Priya, 101 where we are saying this is a valid case, but we are having 101 Priya, 101 Akshay, this is invalid. Why? Anyone can explain me why it is invalid?
Ma'am,
Yes.
roll number can be same. Primary.
Because primary value cannot be double. Like,
Yes.
It
Yes.
cannot be at the same time.
Yes, good, very good. The thing is that we know that this primary key roll number student ID is something that uniquely identifies the entire information of the table, right? The entire columns. So this one means like 101 Priya and 101 Priya. It means that it may be possible that we have entered the value twice in the database. Okay, by mistake, but it is not wrong. But it is like it is referring to the same person only. But in this case, it is referring to two different persons. So that means it is invalid case. So that is why we are saying it's not functionally dependent. Now let's go back to the previous slide. Till this much, any confusion? Please tell me if you have any confusion.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's come to the complicated part. So here it said that a functional dependency denoted by x tends to y between two sets of attributes x and y that are subsets of R specifies a constraint on the possible tuples that can be formed a relation state small r of capital R. So that's what I meant was this x should uniquely determine y. Okay. Now see, here is a example 2. So again, I have not repeated this thing. Now I'll explain you here. So the functional dependency, the constraint for functional dependency is that for any two tuples, okay, tuples means rows, okay, T1 and T2 in R that have T1 of X equal to T2 of X, they must also have T1 of Y equal to T2 of Y. So here it's like two columns are there, A and B, where are the values, okay, with the following instance. On this instance, A uniquely determines B does not hold, but B uniquely determines does hold. So how it is saying so? So we'll just check this example in the, let me just wait. I will show you in the slide. Sorry, it's not copied, I guess. So it did not come in the table format. Just wait, huh? Correct, 3 and 7. Yes. Now we have A and B column like this, right? This is A, this is B. Now it says that A determines B does not hold. A determines B does not hold. Why? Because you see here, one is referring to, we have three, how many cases we can have? One is referring to 4. Again, one is referring to 5. And 3 is referring to 7. So that means 1 determines 4. Again, 1 determines 5. And 3 determines 7. So here this is an invalid case. 1 is determining 4 and 1 is determining 5. This is an invalid case, right? This is okay. This one is correct, but other 2 is wrong. Just now we have seen, right? So this is, it does not hold. It is an invalid case, right? So that is why it's mentioned. Any confusion this part? Please answer. What does this relation? The relation is no confusion. Understood? Still, I'm explaining once more. Here, functional dependency means A uniquely determines B. A uniquely determines B. But you see, for 1, we can 1 uniquely determines 4. But again, 1 is there, but it determines 5. Already 1, if it was 4, not a problem, but it is determining 5, a different number, which is not possible. Just in the earlier case, in the example I was discussing, there 101 Priya was there. Again, if 102, some other name was there, like Akshay was there, it was clearly okay. But 101, again, Priya, let me show you. Suppose we had discussed 101, Priya is there. Again, 101, Priya. So this is a valid case. Similarly, in this case also, if it was something like that, 1 determines 4 and 1 determines 4, then it would have been correct. That A determines B would have been correct. But in this case, it determines 5. So that is why it is wrong. Now check the reverse case. Let's go back. Just wait, huh? Rub it. Now it is saying that B uniquely determines A. Now let's check. Okay. So 4 uniquely determines 1. 5 uniquely determines 1, then 7 uniquely determines 3. So this does hold because this determinant is different. It uniquely determines, okay? So it is correct. The determinant is different every time. Confusion clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Ankita, which part not clear? Which part not clear? This functional dependency, why does it hold and why doesn't hold? Are you clear now? See, this A is the determinant set. Okay, like we have the student ID, right? It should be different. So it can refer to any value. So this is not the matter. It is like this one is getting determined by 4. Okay, you can take I'll show you with some kind of, I think relations and domains you have studied in mathematics in class 12. So we will study that one also. I'll show you with the help of this diagram also. That will be very much helpful. Okay, we'll solve some examples and then it will be more clear to you. Let me go back to second normal form now. Okay, so this was all about the functional dependencies. Okay, so that is why it said that on this instant, so this is an instant of relation. Okay, so here A tends to B does not hold. Yeah, A uniquely identifies B does not hold, but B identifies A does hold. So here is an example again. So instant of functional dependency. Okay, I name uniquely determines phone. Okay, I name uniquely determines phone. So here you can see in the courses table there is CRN as the course ID, course number, title is there, then instructor name and the phone number. So what happens is that I name is the name of the instructor, so it uniquely determines the phone number of the instructor. That is, whenever there will be the instructor name, whenever the instructor name is used, the phone number will be same. So you see here, whenever two rows of a relation in the instructor name, I name, okay, in the instructor, they must also agree in the phone number column. So you can check here in the I name and phone number. Grast and Grast are the same name of the same person, and that is why their phone numbers are also same. Then it is correct. Okay. The reason for the validity of I name tends to uniquely determines phone is that the contact phone number only depends on the instructor, not on other course data. Right? The instructor name will be same, right? Whether like I may be teaching you DBMS, I may be teaching software engineering in some other class, I may be teaching cloud computing in other classes. The courses names are different, but I am the same person. My name is same, and my phone number will also remain the same. So that is the dependency. Okay, so since I am like teaching the 4 different subjects, doesn't mean my phone number, I have to have a 4 different phone numbers, right? So my phone numbers will be same only, and it will be dependent on my name. It will not be dependent on the subjects I teach, right? Any confusion? Yes.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have the foreign keys and the keys. So you see, a key uniquely determines all attributes of its relation. Okay, in example, which key uniquely identifies the primary key, right? In the example, the foreign keys for FCRN, that is this one, FDCRN title. Okay, these are foreign key. This is a functional dependencies. Functional dependence these are the functional dependency. That is, this CRN uniquely identifies the title. Obviously, given the course code number, you can determine the name of the table. Sorry, no, not the name of the table, name of the course. Okay. Similarly, the course name can uniquely determine the I name, the instructor name who is teaching the course. CRN giving the course number, you can uniquely identify the phone number of the instructor too. So there will be two distinct rows with the same CRN, so that the foreign functional dependencies is trivially satisfied. So we haven't studied yet the types of functional dependencies. Probably we'll study in the next class. Then you'll be more clear. Just but you see here, one thing is there, the functional dependency. These are the functional dependencies that holds. That is, that CRN can uniquely identify the title, CRN can uniquely identify the I name, and CRN can uniquely identify the phone number. But this functional dependency does not hold. That the instructor uniquely identifies the title of the course does not hold. Why? Because see, I may be teaching RDBMS. The course name is RDBMS. Okay. No, okay, it's like the I name uniquely determines the title. Okay, let me tell you, like, suppose my name is Shweta, so I'm like, from my name, you cannot find out the name, like, what are the subjects I'm teaching, right? Because same subjects are taught by other teachers in the other courses. So we have to totally disagree that the instructor name is enough to identify the title of the course. Okay. So we will discuss about the types of functional dependencies. Okay, so don't worry about it. Then you will be getting, because there are two types of functional dependencies, trivial and non-trivial, but not in this class. Okay, so how we say that a table is in second normal form? So a table is said to be in second normal form if it is in first NF. Okay, it's required that your table is in 1 NF. Okay, and if every non-prime attribute A in R is fully functionally dependent on the primary key of R. So it is also required any non-prime attribute. We'll study what is this non-prime attribute. Okay. So it is fully functional dependent on the primary key of R. So here we have a table like this employee project. Okay. So here we have suppose it's a this one. It is like the table is in 1 NF. Okay, so we cannot take an unnormalized table. We have to take a normalized, that is in 1 NF. So the employee project relation is in 1 NF, but it is not in 2 NF. The non-prime attributes, that is the E name, violates the 2F because of functional dependency. So we'll study about this non-prime attributes probably because I need some more time to like explain you. First, I think the types of functional dependency should be clear to you people. Okay, then I'll explain you. Okay, it's a long topic actually. Okay, so this was all about today, like functional dependency and this one first normal form. Any confusion? Any
No,
confusion?
ma'am.
So I won't share the slide today. So request you all to like go for any YouTube videos also. You can go and just try to understand. Ask yourself if you have any question. You can ask me in the next class. Okay, I'll explain the other parts. Okay, I won't share the slide today. After I complete, I'll be sharing. Okay, just wait. Let me take the attendance. Okay, thank you everyone. Meet you in the next class then. You all can leave now.